What's going on, guys? I'm back with another shipbuilding video. Though today, instead of showing you an actual build, I'm going to be showing you my tips and tricks and techniques that I use when I build my ships. Though keep in mind, this is not an ideas video, like what ideas to build upon to make a ship. No, this is literally the building process and techniques. When it comes to ideas, it takes me a while to come up with my own stuff. But no, these are my tips and tricks on what I use to actually get my ships a certain way, and all the glitches and techniques that I use to make things all work together. So let's get right into it. Alright, so here I have a ship that I took from Nexus, a design that I really liked and I thought was really cool. However, it's not my design, so I removed most of it and showed you mainly just the complex part of the whole techniques that I used, because it was interesting enough. In the mod author's description, he says that you need a specific mod to be able to properly put pieces that don't normally fit together, and the mod itself removes that restriction, allowing you to place things wherever you want. However, I don't like using mods when I'm shipbuilding. I like to keep it all vanilla. It makes it more interesting that way, and more difficult and more of a challenge, and much more rewarding in the end. So I took it upon myself for two reasons. I like the ship. So yeah, the design was really cool, and I wanted to also challenge myself to see if I could actually manage to do this without that mod. And I did. I successfully managed to do it. Alright, so here it is completely taken apart. So first thing I do is I'm going to place the engine back where it was here. Then I'm going to place the fuel tanks, because those are crucial, at the bottom here, like this. Then I put the next one on top. Then, if you put the reactor right away, the engine here won't fit. It won't clip, because it needs to clip with the fuel tanks. So the first thing you need to do before you put the reactor is clip the engine in. And this is very situational, like it depends on the order of how you're building things. This is just for this particular build. So you might do things in a different order, but the technique is still the same. So I'm going to take a hab. I'm going to take this companionway hab here, place it down, duplicate it up, and then duplicate it again. Then I'm going to take the engine here, place it at the top row, and then delete the top hab here. So this part's important, because if you move after you've clipped it, if I do this, for example, it clips in place, you put it in. However, if you move after you've done this, so I'm gonna drop it down, but then move, then it doesn't work. So be sure that when you're clipping this onto the hab just below, just click, don't move, and then place. And there you go. Delete the habs here, place the reactor back, and there you go. The engine is now properly snapped on. Next, to get this engine to fit, you're gonna need to take these wings first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip these wings. So normally it doesn't work like, it usually doesn't happen like this, but when I'm gonna place it, it's gonna jump down. I'm gonna drop it, and then as you can see, it's right here. For some reason, it just goes down below. However, don't worry. All you have to do is click on it, and it will snap back to the one above it. I don't know why it does this. It's convenient, but that's how it works. You do the same thing on the other side. Flip, place, drop. It will drop on me. Then grab it again and place it back. This usually doesn't happen with the flipping technique. Usually the flipping technique, all you have to do is just place and then like flip. Like for example, if I did this down here or something like that, all I'd have to do is flip and place it, and it would be like that. Just imagine if that was red, and it would automatically just snap on. So to get this engine to work, you don't even need this engine anymore. All you have to do is this. So I'm gonna duplicate this engine up, place, and then up again, and it will snap always to the one above it. And there you go. There's the engine's put in. The reason why it does this is because here there's a snapping point, and then here's a snapping point. So this one is going to take that snapping point, So when you duplicate the next one, it won't go to here, it will go to the next one. That's why it's important that you put the wings here first. And again, this is situational. This all depends on the build you're working on. But the idea is the same. I did the same thing in another build with different parts and everything like that. But the duplicating down or up technique works fine. So I'm going to duplicate this again, and there you go. It's placed. And then I'm going to delete that. Then for these parts, because these don't fit here, you're going to do another kind of clipping technique. So first things first, you have to remove this and then place this in here. Then what you're going to need to do is duplicate this, the cross brace, delete the cross brace that's underneath it, and then place this cap back here. Then when you click on the brace above it and drop and click on it, it will automatically snap below. And now, there you go, it's clipped inside and it fits perfectly. With this particular build, the cross brace actually doesn't do anything. It's purely for decoration, so that's why the clipping inside this brace doesn't matter, because you won't actually be using this. But that's just that particular build. Just keep that in mind. When you clip things into actual rooms and structures, you will see the structure inside the ship. I'll show you another example in a little bit with another build. So you do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to show that to you now. Then what you need to do, because this is a hab, so this is an actual living space. You can actually go in and walk it in, stuff like that, in the ship. However, it won't fit with this thruster that's above it. So what you're going to need to do, which is very interesting for you guys to know. So we all know that habs and stuff like that don't flip, right? However, there is the other way around it. So you know how you can swap variants like this using the D-pad or whatever it is on keyboard and mouse to flip variants. That flipping, that switching variants actually counts as the flip. So I'm gonna place this here. I'm gonna change the variant and then drop it, and there you go. And you can do it as many times as you want, and you can even do that. So every time you click on it, it will be green, and then you can swap the variants as many times as you want and just drop it and put it down or apply it, and it will fit. And there you go. It now fits with that thruster. So this entire section here, the mod author said you needed a mod to do it. And I just showed you an entire way to do it vanilla, without any mods, all clean, with just techniques. And there you go. So now an interesting little piece, an extra little detail that I'm going to show you guys, which you'll find very interesting, which I actually found very interesting as well when I was updating, hint hint, the Ghost version 0.3. That's right, there's another version coming soon. And I discovered this particular tip by doing that. So let's jump to my XS freighter and I'll show you exactly what I did. Alright, so here we are with the XS Freighter 2, the one with the double wings. So if you guys remember, in my video, I mentioned that the docker would not work on this side of the wing because of the stag that wouldn't snap onto it, because the docker itself, once I find it, the docker itself here doesn't have a snapping point underneath. And this really bugged me. And I think I figured this technique or trick in while I was updating, when I was doing tweaks on my Ghost, which you guys will see soon. So what I did, and you guys are gonna find this really cool. So as we know, the docker will fit obviously here, but the skeg doesn't fit anymore. So what's the solution to this? Because all we know is that it needs a snapping point to be able to snap. So here it is. I'm gonna remove the docker here, and I'm gonna create a snapping point for that skeg. I'm gonna scroll down and grab. Where are you? Oh, here. The HopeTech Riser B. Now, as you can see, the HopeTech Riser B is exactly the perfect size to fit right in between. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna take the the riser here, and you're going to place it right there. And you're going to take the skeg underneath and place it here. So now you see there's a connecting point here between these two parts, and that's connecting the skeg, allowing it to hold. Now here's the fun part. You take the Docker, you use another technique, but you place it in. See here, it doesn't fit. So here's the flipping technique in action. You flip it back, drop it, and boom, there you go. Everything is now fits. All you need to do now is remove the extra Docker that's above here, and the ship is complete. You can now have the Docker right next to there on the wing, like it is in the actual design, while still having the skeg underneath to complete the wing. And all you have to do is create this snapping point using the riser, which will clip through the Docker. And since the Docker itself isn't a room, you don't actually enter it, so you won't see the clipping of the pillar. The red door of the Docker is on the side of this hab here, so the door is there, but you don't actually enter. So the clipping won't be noticeable. However, if there was still a hab there, the pillar would clip through it and you'd be able to see it while walking inside the hab. But this isn't the case with the Docker, so this actually works very well in this case. So now you have the whole wing with the Docker in place while still having the skeg underneath, just by connecting a riser and clipping a riser in between so that it creates that extra snapping point underneath. And you can do this with a bunch of other parts. For example, if you wanted to put something underneath these engines, you would do the same. However, you'd have to have something on top of the engine here. So you'd have a piece like this on top, then you'd put the riser underneath and clip something else. And I did exactly that with my Ghost build, with something I added, which you guys will find out once I have made the update video. But that is the extra technique that I wanted to show you guys. That one was really special because it was really interesting of how I discovered it. I was really wanting to add a part underneath one of my engines in one of my builds, and I figured, okay, how can I do this? And because with all the clipping and the flipping and everything like that, I figured, wait a minute, the riser here is relatively small, and it wouldn't interfere with the exterior of most parts because it's really small. Like if I put this in here, you can barely see it if it's clipped inside. So it's really well hidden. So this part is actually perfect. And all you'd have to do is just put it in there however way you want, and it's perfect. It's too small. It doesn't get in anything's way. And I figured, and that's how I did it. So now I can put pieces underneath engines. I can put pieces above, underneath, especially if they have no part like clipping point on above it. So it helps a lot. Like for example, I could probably put another like pillar somewhere above here, and it would probably create a snapping point there. But it opens up a lot of new ways to further designs, which I really like. So, and I'll show you guys that when I make my update video for my Ghost, and you guys will see what I did, and you guys will probably be very interested in adding it to your own design as well. But in terms of that is all the techniques I currently have under my belt. There's the flipping technique, which we showed here. Then there's the pillar technique here, by adding that, creating it your own snapping point. There's also the clipping technique, where you take a piece that doesn't want to fit normally above, then snap it down, remove this, and boom, there's that. Or there's the other way of doing it, where you just duplicate it down and place it that way. So those are the four techniques. 4 or 5. Flip, snap, duplicate, and the pillar. Yeah, so those are my 4 current techniques. If I come up with any more, I'll be sure to make an update version of this video. But at the moment, those are all the techniques I use on top of just the regular building itself. And I'm able to make a few more complex designs. Another one of my particular designs that I'm currently making as well, I fused a bunch of engine parts and a bunch of things together and it actually looks like a proper like engine, like with like a case and everything like that, and it looks really good. So, and I'm excited to share that with you guys very soon as well. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed all these new tips and tricks and learned a lot. And now that you guys have seen this, I hope you guys are like, ooh, I can now use these into my build. This is very interesting. I can better improve it and everything like that. Because to me, when I discovered these, it was really fun. And I managed to improve a lot of my builds. That's why I'm also able to bring you guys a version 3 of the Ghost, which is coming soon. And I'm excited to really share what I've improved and what I've changed. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys have any ideas or any other techniques that I haven't thought of or brought up, throw them down in the comments so that to share with everyone. And I'll see you in the next one.